Hi friends, welcome back to 2020. I brought you to my kitchen because today we're going to make candles and we need the stove to help melt the wax. This is a project I really want you to make sure you do with your parents because again we're using some warm water and melting some wax. For our little ones, we are going to make a candle that does not use melted wax. So let's start with that first. What we're going to make is a beeswax pillar candle. See it right here? And where you get that from, these are what the sheets look like. You can buy them at your craft store. And what you want to do is you want to make them a little soft. So put them over, right now I've got some warm water in here that I'm melting some wax right now, just to make it a little bit more pliable. And this is a really fun project and it does not take much. So once it feels like it's pliable, put it on a hard surface, and then you're going to need some wick. Now, you can buy a thing of wick like this at a craft store, but back 200 years ago, there was no craft stores. They made wick out of flax. You might have heard that word flaxseed. Well, flax is a plant that grows outside and grows very tall, and the fibers in it are very hard. So they plant these, and they would take out the fibers and they would spin it on the spinning wheel and get something like a little rope. So we're going to place our wick onto the sheet of beeswax and we're going to just roll, and as we're rolling we're going to push down really hard on it to make sure that there are no air bubbles. And just keep rolling along, staying straight. As you go, and there you go. You have a beeswax pillar candle, and they would have had beeswax back 200 years ago. You might take up scissors and trim down the wick a little bit, and there, you've made a candle. Now, for the older kids, we are going to attempt to make dipped candles, and I can tell you, I've had some experience of things not to do. Like this example here, I just took a little white wax and I wanted to color it. You cannot add food coloring, it doesn't mix. So don't try this experiment. My first attempt at dipping a candle didn't look all that well. The trick is, boys and girls, and have your folks help you with this, is you're going to need a thermometer. You want to keep the wax about 160 degrees or less to make a good candle. I'll show you my later attempts. Turned out not too bad. All right, the reason I have colored candles here is I used colored wax. So what are you going to use for wax? Well, I bet some of you have a big thing of crayons. Why don't you gather some crayons that kind of look similar, like I did these right here, peel off the paper, and I've got it already started to melt here. I'm going to add some more to it, and it'll just melt on down, and you can make a candle out of old crayons. If you don't have old crayons around, you might have an old candle that has melted down. Take the paper off, again put it in a water bath, and that will re-melt. And you can make a candle out of that. Or you can go to the store and buy candle wax or paraffin wax. And this is probably closest to what they would have seen back 200 years ago. But you know what? You won't believe what they used 200 years ago. Let me show you. They actually used animal fat, like bacon grease. Can you imagine what those candles smelled like? And you know how many candles they had to make to last all winter long? They had to make over 250 candles. That is a lot of candles. See, they didn't have electricity, and you know in the winter time it's dark by 5 o'clock at night, so they needed the candlelight to see in the dark. All right, let me check the temperature of our two candles over here and see if we're about ready to start dipping. And I'm going to just quickly stick the thermometer into the wax and see what the temperature's at. It's not too hot. Okay, it looks like I'm pretty good to go ahead and dip my candles. They would usually do this in the fall. So one step we're going to add that they didn't do back then is in between dips, I'm going to dip it into some cold water to help with the wax hardening. I made my wick long enough for 2 candles. See, I'm going to dip one in the blue and one in the purple and just keep on dipping. In fact, I've already started the process with this one, so I'm going to continue here. As you can see, there's a little bit of thickness on it. That's about 4 or 5 dips. You need about almost 25 dips to make it a full candle like this. So let me get my cold water. And we're going to start dipping. I thought it'd be fun as we're dipping that we sing a little song. Let's see here. Should it's safe. Move these over here. Go down. Count to about 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bring on up. Cool in the water. And just repeat. When you're doing this with your family, maybe you could be thinking, what would be a great song we can do as we're doing this? And I kind of came up with an idea. Just sing along with me. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now as you can see, the candles are kind of getting a funny shape. Well, you can the wax is not that hot. You can kind of just straighten it out when they come out of the wax. Let's do that again. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Also, boys and girls, you notice how the purple one is a little bit thicker than the blue one? That's probably because the temperature of the purple one is a little cooler, so more wax sticks on the wick. Well, we'll just keep going on with this process. I hope you have fun trying this at home. I'd love to see your results, so take pictures, please, maybe even a video. And remember, on Sunday at 10 o'clock, we will Zoom together, and I'd love to see your finished dipped candles. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.